take to our December meeting. We are starting at 7:04.
Give me one, okay.
Maybe 7:05.
I'm sorry, but I thought we were gonna take minutes on the laptop and I didn't actually do it.
Aren't you the audience?
All right.
So it's still 7:04, I talk fast, okay. And any public comment tonight?
No,
I checked everyone else, and nothing's dropping off.
Any additions to our agenda tonight? Any-
no, there's not.
All right, let's take a look at the minutes from November 13th to see if there are any corrections or omissions.
She's gonna email you. She's gonna email you. Or call you.
All right, with any comments on last month's minutes? I'll make a motion that we accept the minutes of November 13th.
I'll second it.
Thanks, Janet. All in favor? Unanimous? Very good.
Was anybody absent last month? No? I think everybody was here last month. We had a really good
I think so, yeah.
turnout last
Jen.
week.
Jen and Alex, so they're not here.
They're not here today.
And now we can go on to youth services.
Right. Hi, everyone. Happy Thanksgiving. We have planned a fall paint party for the middle school students, which is usually fairly popular. Canceled due to low participation. I'm just concerned that parents aren't reading in the center. I don't know. But anyway, we have a holiday cookie decorating party planned for this Friday, 2:34 at the middle school, and that's usually very well attended and often very fun. So right now we have 9 kids signed up. You don't just wake up the week of the program. So fees $10. We have supplies, we have snacks, and kids just, we buy sugar cookies and they just decorate them and chat and they just have a really good time. It's really fun. And they eat most of what they make. Week care bags, we did announce that, families can make week care bags. They're, you just fill a 1 gallon resealable bag and put personal items or whatever for the homeless. And haven't heard a lot from people. There was one woman reached out from Girl Scouts, so hopefully they're in the process of making some. And went out to all 3 schools in the area, so I'm hoping we have a good response. There is a drop-off day on Thursday, but people can also make arrangements to come drop it off whenever and take it. And then we'll get that to New Reach, who now are running 3 shelters in New Haven. Shop with a Cop, they still did not get back to what they used to do, which was to run 2 huge programs in the state, and cops were able to go and, come from their town, be matched up with kids from the town. And somehow the application process became like youth services separate from our police department. So they were continuing to apply. So they got 5 grants. Youth services got 2 because we do base it on need, and police department bases it on need within Beach Road School. So anyway, we did get approved for 2, so I'll just have to pick up 2 gift cards in Farmington from the Reach Foundation. And it's a big help. It's $250 gift cards to Target for 2 families, which is always a help. I'm hoping, and I did reach out to the police department to see if we could unite again, because they're not doing the large one ever since COVID. It would be nice if, even if youth services supports 2 extra kids to go out to dinner and shopping with the police department. The whole point is to kind of build that relationship. Absolutely. Job bank, we're getting a few more calls for students, and students are starting to reach out to me right now. I think some of the sports are done, and hopefully we'll get a few more kids. I have someone scheduled for an interview, and just got another application from someone. So hopefully that will pick up. If it snows, it will pick up for sure. Community service. Food pantry, we've had, a few kids come and help out in the food pantry. Surrey Brook School in Bethany, it's a preschool, and they have donated every year, and they donated quite a few things. And we had a kid come in, and he really delved into it. I think between 2 boys, we got a lot of the sorting done. Actually, we got it all done, cleared off, but they covered the whole table in my office, plus all the area around it. So we got
That was really
quite a bit of
fast.
food from them. It was awesome. Holiday baskets, we have 5 or 6 students coming from Spartan School at the high school tomorrow to help out, and we'll have some pizza for lunch and some snacks while they're here. And they're always appreciated. They do so much to help with the holiday baskets. Diversion, I was again invited to the Juvenile Review Board to attend this Wednesday in Orange, so I'm trying to build my experience a little. Staffing, we still need more per diem staff. There was one person. We reached out to Beecher Road School. Maybe some of the teachers or aides might want to just help out once in a while and make a little bit while they're here. So we did have one person interested. I believe she's an aide over there, so I'm hoping to send her with an interview soon. And we're on the lookout. Anyone knows? It's an occasional thing. We do like 5 or 6 evening programs a year, but I would like to have 1 or 2 people available for after-school hours too, because we do after-school programming. Sometimes we need an extra person. We did meet with the principal. I'll kind of combine the next 2. Regarding student involvement, I'd like to have probably 1 more student from the middle school. We have some student involvement from the high school, but I'd like someone from the middle school because it's important to us, since we work so closely with them, to make sure we have new ideas on programming. And Lainey Alexander, our program coordinator, and I went to the middle school last week, met with the principal and assistant principal, just to talk about needs and develop, programming going forward. The principal was very concerned about AI moving forward, not just our typical internet safety program that is really run by a cop who's no longer with the police work. So I will look into trying to get some information out, especially for parents, but also for kids. There was an incident, just with the principal himself, where someone copied his image and made a video, and parents were calling, and it had nothing to do with him. So we're already, we're in it, and we really have to be careful.
Wow.
So we talked about internet safety, resilience, and also vaping prevention. So it sounds like they want to have the vaping prevention again for the 7th and 8th graders, just to repeat and, find out what's new out there. And Beecher Road School, we've decided to do a paint party at Beecher Road School since we didn't get, great response at the middle school. We're gonna, try it at the elementary school level, and I've reached out to them about the after-school guided study program to get that started. So we should be working on that very soon. Questions?
So the paint party isn't throwing paint at people, actually painting?
That's just for me.
Oh, all right.
That's like a paint run.
Okay,
Well,
just
you
checking.
never know. I think
Might
I
get
know
more
what
sign-ups.
You never know. Thanks for the suggestion. Don't let the kids hear that, please.
All right. Any other worthwhile comments?
Move to accept the report.
Bring the humor, Pat.
I'll make a motion to
Pat
accept.
made a motion.
Pat, he beat me up. I already filled in my name.
In that case, I second.
Oh, no, you can't do that, because I already
No,
wrote
no,
it.
I've got this
You're
one, and
legitimate.
I'll second it.
No, already seconded.
Oh, already seconded. Okay, got it.
You were so out of that.
Yeah.
Just run the meeting.
All in favor? Unanimous, sorry, thank you. I'll okay, human service? Oh, no, I don't want to skip the Woodbridge Center. Okay. Yes.
The November coffee bar was sponsored by Susan and Alan Davidson, and the December coffee bar is going to be sponsored by Jane and Carol Belshevek, which is very nice of both of them, or 4 of them. On November 14th, we had a beaded ornamental craft that was run by volunteer Sandy Fagiana. We had 25 people come to it, so that was nice. She was filming since Deb from Hampton Health left, unfortunately. And then on November 20th, the Woodbridge Garden Club gave a holiday centerpiece workshop to 19 people, and there's probably 5 or 6 people from the garden club who came. And if you have a chance to look at the pictures on Facebook, they're really just incredible. I was expecting these little centerpieces, and they were very grand, and it was just amazing. Debbie Schlegel had so much stuff that she had cut down and everything from her yard and other places, and she made several trips bringing the stuff here, and it was a lot of fun. It filled the room. Everybody was really happy. So that was really nice. On November 21st, we had our Thanksgiving Day luncheon, or our Thanksgiving luncheon. We had 97 people attend that. There was 4 members of the Woodbridge PD that came, 3 from Coachman Square and 2 from the Holly Chambon team. And they all helped serve, and it's a really nice event. It was very festive. Food was from Lassie's, it was really good. And there was a lot of people who, the holidays aren't necessarily easy, so it was nice to make it a little easier for those people. On November 22nd, indoor pickleball resumed in the gym, and the pickleball players, for the most part, are very pleased with the renovation in the gym. And on November 21st, we had our pool table finished being restored. There's new valve, new bumpers, so that's set up in room 13. So we'll start to have opening it up to play in the very near future. On this Thursday, we're having lunch and brain games, which will be given by Milford Health and Rehabilitation. We're full to capacity with 25 people signed up, and there's a waiting list. And I'm going out of order, December 4th. On Wednesday, lunch bunch is going to Gusto Trattoria in Milford, and we'll be taking 1 band there. And then on December 16th, a group from Amity, student volunteers, they belong to the Elders Helpers, that's the name of their group. They will be offering a group tech class on learning to email on your computer or your iPhone, and several people are signed up for that. And then on December 19th, the Woodbridge Rotary will be sponsoring the annual holiday lunch again. It's to Woodbridge members mainly, and then it is open also to 20 Bethany residents. So I think there's about 15 that are coming from Bethany so far, and we probably have about 50 so far signed up from Woodbridge.
Wow.
So that's going now. And then at the holiday luncheon, we'll have music by Pierce Campbell, and there will be also optional photos with Santa Mark, who's a professional Santa who went to Santa camp. Some of our members, serious business, he has a business card. But he's volunteering his Santa expertise. And Tai Chi Kwan, Moving for Better Balance, will begin on January 13th. We'll have 2 classes for that, and we already have 22 people signed up between the 2 classes for that. That's offered mostly, half through a grant, and the other half is offset. The fee's offset by the grant, so it works out to be $2 per class, which is pretty reasonable. And I passed out just a summary of some of the stats in 2-point font. I apologize.
Okay.
You put it on to fit the page, and it gets very small very quick. But it's just to compare where we're at with attendance compared to past years and transportation. These are stats that we need for the budget. But so it's a good time of the year to share them with all of you. And you can see the last couple of years.
Pat, it's on the back of the page you just had. No, on your left hand, yep.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So I'll leave that for you to look over.
That's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
The numbers.
Yes.
Good.
exponential growth. If you
Yeah.
build it, they will come.
When you say it, when you say it monthly, it doesn't hurt to see it back, so it's good
Yeah.
to have that glimpse.
Did you ever think we'd get like this?
And then some other updates, we received an additional $100 donation for the team's flood relief fund, which brought the total collected to $630, which I sent to them. They were very pleased with that. And the Stitchcraft group decorated 3 wreaths that are going to be auctioned at Charter Senior Living for a fundraiser to benefit the Alzheimer's Association. And I believe that's on December 11th.
Do you need that, Nancy?
And lastly, personnel, we're still exploring options for the center coordinator position. Jeanette and I interviewed 2 candidates so far. And I have to say that the members of our center have been very gracious in offering to help any way that they can and telling me to reach out to them. So that's very much appreciated. And Rose has been stepping in and she's doing the frozen meal deliveries, packing them up and taking inventory, and Joe, our driver, steps in and helps with that after he brings it back from Batavia catering. So everyone's been very nice and offering to help out the best that they can. Any questions?
I have one question.
Sure.
97 participants in the luncheon. How was the parking situation?
It's a problem, and actually, a couple of people, I know at least one person who was supposed to attend and wound up not because they couldn't walk that far and there wasn't any parking spots available. So maybe, and I think I may have mentioned it to you, it may be something to explore, having a shuttle set up somewhere, just talk about it for the future.
Right.
Yeah.
Especially if there's something at the library too.
Right.
Something else going on.
This parking lot fills up really quickly on any day of the week, and then Tuesdays and Thursdays just always are busier days, so that already has a heavier
Right.
impact on
And
the
the
parking.
pickleball is, we hear more now in the cold, so it's just going to be
Right.
tighter, so just want to think ahead to that.
Right.
I have a question. Just
Sure.
in terms of the growth,
Mm-hmm.
what is our capacity? Are we reaching a point where there's too many people in the available space, or are we?
No, so it's spread out enough that we aren't. As far as staffing, we're reaching our capacity there.
We pass that in our rearview mirror. Yeah.
But no, the parking is the biggest problem or issue that we have for the most part.
And programs fill quickly. You know,
Right,
the
that's
ones that have
limits.
limits, they fill quickly.
Okay.
You can only, serve so many.
But the limits, we're having the membership, which will start, the membership fee for non-residents, so that'll help to be able to expand. A lot of times, our sponsors, they limit what they can offer, like if it's a lunch or something.
Yeah,
so
they'll
we'll be
say you
able to
can have
supplement.
30,
Right.
but if there are other people paying to attend, then some of those funds can go toward supplementing what the sponsor is willing to pay.
Like this Thursday, the luncheon rain games, they have a limit of 25, because
Mhm.
that's what they can afford for their
Right.
business. So if we can offer to match that, or even,
Okay. Great.
some.
Because we could definitely host in the room 50, that's not a problem, it's the cost for lunch.
Sure.
They're gonna do their games, they're gonna print their materials, whatever it is, that doesn't cost them anything.
Right.
It's the lunch.
Any other comments? Another busy month, Christie, thank you. I'll make a motion to accept the Woodbridge Center report. Thank you, all in favor? Aye. Unanimous, and on to human services.
See, that's how mistakes happen. You just put that on human services. Woodbridge Center is somehow hiding in there. Okay. Okay, I'm just gonna start with what we did today. We I set up the gym yesterday, and yes, I know yesterday was Sunday. And We set up for 41 families to receive baskets. The donors came in, we had lovely volunteers. Kathy and Tim Austin were here most of the day. And our donors came one by one or in droves, and all but one basket was accounted for. So we had one missing basket, and we'll have to follow up on that. You know, if you go and you peek in the.
What does the missing basket mean? That we have
It
one more
means
client
that,
we
it
could-
means that we're gonna put something together for that family and, you know, maybe chase down the person or maybe not, because we have lovely food here and we have some gift cards and we're able to create something for that family in a pinch.
Yeah.
It's not our preference to do it that way, but we'll manage.
Okay.
I actually have to go back up to the gym after the meeting because I didn't finish. So there's a little bit more work tonight, so we're gonna keep this short. In my report, you'll see I spoke about the center building gym renovation. It is not complete as much as it looks like it's complete. We're using it. We got a temporary CO, and then I believe it became permanent. We have a certificate of occupancy. There is still a punch list out there. I was not here on Tuesday when the engineers came through, architects and engineers created their punch list, and I have not seen a follow-up list, has not come my way, but that needs to be done, and then the owners, us, we have a punch list that needs to be completed, and whether or not Peltier Construction chooses to complete these things before, you know, we run out of time and energy chasing them down or not. That should happen, but they wanted everything together and only wanted to come back at once to address the unfinished work. It's very minimal at this point. The air filtration system, HVAC is all working, operating. There's a few other minor things, but they have to be done. And the center building renovation committee, in my understanding, can stop meeting as soon as the gym project is complete. It looks like we've done our work. We followed our charge. Our charge was to come up with a plan. We came up with a plan utilizing Silver Petroselli, and it was 42 million, and the town said no way. And we moved on to another plan that might involve smaller projects in this building, one at a time through capital budget, and a separate freestanding police department after a siting committee figures that out. The town has looked to create a standing building committee, and that will have members on it that don't change with every project. And they'll involve, as I understand it, pertinent staff to each project. So if they're building a police department, they'll have a member of the police commission there maybe, and the police chief. That would serve just like I've served on various projects in this building. And I'm hoping that one finishes, because I've spent a lot of time at those meetings. Capital and operating budget, since we have last met, I've done goose eggs. To be perfectly honest, I have not worked on the budget at all. My staff is working on their parts, but without Ellen here, I've taken on a lot of her work, which was the Thanksgiving baskets, and that's what got done. It's priorities. I mentioned last time it's hard to prioritize when everything is a priority, but you know, after tomorrow when the baskets go out, that's when we'll work on it. I do want to set a date with Kathy and Pat, who are our budget committee, subcommittee, and we'll likely meet just before our next meeting to do that work. So that's where that stands. The Thanksgiving holiday program went well. We partnered with the Rotary Club and Bailey Moore, Glazer, Schaefer, Proto, Proto LLP. And there was a nice donation from Bailey Moore and a nice donation from the Rotary, and we met down at Stop and Shop, gave us a great price for pies, and Rotary and Bailey Moore purchased gift cards, and we gave 30 holiday pies and gift cards to Woodbridge residents. And because Rotary is who they are, they gave 10 to a church in New Haven and 20 to Bethany as well. So we participated there, and our residents really benefited. It was very nice. Judy's been really busy with the Energy Assistance Program, helping folks get on to team, and that has been rather busy. On the opioid settlement fund, I brought this up last month. I was a little disappointed with the first applicants and interviews. I've since heard from another who seems qualified. I'm slightly concerned that they don't have a vehicle, and so we're going to meet virtually next week, and we'll do an interview. We can't provide them a car, and some of the things that they need to do will be in other locations. So that'll be one of my questions. But definitely they have the qualifications for the job, which will be about 20 hours a week, utilizing the opioid settlement funds to do harm reduction and prevention work with various cohorts, including, but not limited to, the high school, parents from the high school, at the library, within the Woodbridge Center, and do programming and whether it's harm reduction with Narcan, those kinds of trainings, or it's prevention work at the high school. I think I mentioned before that the largest cohort that suffers the most is just after high school, so 24 to 35 is the group that sees the most overdoses. So doing some prevention work at the high school seems pertinent. We'll see if maybe we're going to push in at the middle school for some prevention work. We'll see how they feel about it. But first we need to hire someone, and this person is has 4 years, I think, of doing work in prevention, and is getting their master's in public health from Yale School of Public Health. So, but we'll see. After I meet him, I'll let you know at the January meeting, and that, I think, is enough for me.
Any comments, questions? I'll make a motion to accept the Human Services report. Need a second. I saw Arnie first. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. So this is my update that I'm going to go to Pat first. Pat stepped in and volunteered to be on the provide technical assistance to the Country Club of Woodbridge consultants. They're being hired to present a plan to the Board of Selectmen at some future point in the spring, I think, late spring. So Pat has had a couple of contacts, and Pat can fill us in, and then I'll also fill in a little bit on POCD.
Okay. Yeah, they had the organizational meeting for what I call the Country Club project. All of the boards and commissions are represented on this group, and we've got to get together with the consultants that have been hired to drive the process, guide the process. Mika made a point of saying that this go-round, because we've been through a few iterations of trying to figure out what to do with that property, instead of being responsive to other people's ideas of what they could do with the property, that the idea is to develop an overall plan for all 150 acres, and then decide as a town how to attack those elements to the plan. The outfit is out of New York City. They're a national firm. They've worked with the town of Middletown in Connecticut and have done a similar kind of project in Missouri. So we met with a fellow by the name of Brad, who's going to be the project manager and one of the senior partners today. And I'll send you the handout. I'm finally convinced my printer to print it this evening. It was just before I came. Having some outage issues on my side of town. Anyway, the idea is for the people from the various boards and commissions to provide input on what we're hoping our constituencies will benefit out of this. So that as we're doing our POCD reconfiguration, our job is to get that information to them so that it gets incorporated where appropriate into the plan. So it's 155 acres. I didn't realize it was that big because most of the projects that I've heard about were smaller than that. The next meeting is the 11th, where they're going to take us on a hike over the property and then sit down for an hour or so and try to get some feedback from us as to what we think would make sense for the property. So it's going to be, that's what I came away with is that the town's trying to develop some sort of a comprehensive development plan that would dovetail with the POCD so that if that property might be a good place for a solution to several of the issues that are being raised. But it's important for us to keep our issues in front.
Yes.
Yeah. So, let you know, as you all know, there are only going to be a few meetings. So, and they want to try to get their work done before summer. Because summer just tends to fall apart. So that they've designed their deadlines to be the week of or the week before Board of Selectmen meetings, because they're really the decision makers on all of that.
Can I ask a question? You mentioned that they want to be able to put our concerns, our issues first. Have we decided what we think is appropriate for that? Okay. I was just wondering if it sounded like we had.
No. It's just that whatever they are, we're supposed to get them there. And what I came away with is if we don't have them, we better get them because the timetable is very short.
We can put this on the agenda for January, February. I mean, we have a lot on the plate for January. We already have our POCD that day, and we have budget.
Yeah.
So maybe we put this for February. I think our POCD, we talked about if there's, and we're not naming the country club here, but if there is more housing in town, not necessarily at the country club. We talked about, low-income housing, affordable housing, and as many times as I hear some committees say that those people don't need services, our experience here is that a percentage of them do. And so as long as they're willing to increase low-income housing in town, they also need to increase the ability of this department to provide services.
Right.
And no objections to what they want to do. It's the charge, and God knows we're behind in other communities. But they can't, full-time social worker, or 2 part-time social workers, more seniors for, 55 plus housing. We're already seeing people who live where Arnie lives coming to live here, to work, to play here. And so these, the Toll Brothers are increasing our population here. So we're gonna need to continue to provide the services, which means we need the staffing. And so you can't have one without the other because the equation needs to balance. I think that.
Just adding to that, I think that's something that's really important that I should have noted before about this little chart here is, this can't continue because if I'm the only one here doing staffing, like it just can't continue because I can't pick up that position anymore. It's just not.
Yeah,
It just can't happen.
well, it's the kind of thing, if that's gonna be, you ought to think through, what I took away from that is, you ought to think through what you might need as a facility over there, if that is part of the plan. But I think our input is, we think senior housing makes a lot of sense, is what, from the conversations I've heard around this table. So, how does that impact over there? Well, transportation to get the people from there to here, because this is where we provide the services. So there will be plenty of opportunity. The POCD doing it ahead of this makes all the sense in the world.
I guess
It's essentially
along with-
lifting that and then applying it to where could we make use of whatever the POCD calls for in that location.
Sure, and along with transportation, not everybody needs transportation, but they need parking places once they get here.
Yeah.
So that ties it right back into where we
Sure.
were before. And we need to talk about satellite parking or something.
Yeah, and I know we've talked a lot about recreational opportunities, just walking and things of that sort. So those kinds of issues, we should feed into that as well, I would think.
The walkability of the town.
Yeah, just,
Also.
All right, so then I'll make a
recreation area
note.
For kids.
For kids, yes, because I don't need the old people.
I'll make a note to put CCW on the agenda for February then.
Thank you.
Thank you, Pat. And I'm going to hand you, there's 3 sheets of paper, which is consolidating 2 meetings. One, Jeanette, Arnie and I, then Jeanette, Pat and I, talking about POCD. So I took some notes. Some of this reflects some of my additions as I was going through this. The last page, I started to formulate, and again, this is just very, very rough goal areas. So this is what I'd like the commission to kind of sit with, and staff sit with to help refine them, because I do want I do want to make sure our voices get put forward on. So again, the first 2 pages I organized roughly by department. Some of the topics the needs that we talked about in those 2 meetings, and I think we're going to plan a 3rd meeting, Jeanette. So, Christy, take a look. Again, it's really just my notes, and you'll help me with your comments. I do want to point out that on the POCD link in the town is now this document, that this is the demographic study that they're taking their information from, and which was really interesting reading to see where the population trends are, but pertinent to what Pat was just talking about. This was 2020 data between 2010 and 2020. And 37.9% of the population is 55 and over. And that breaks down 28.1% considered, older adults, 55 to 74, they're 28.1%. And the population that's growing the most is 75 plus. It's right now at 9.8%, but I think it was quite a bit lower than that in 2010. So I have to go back in this report, but that's one of the biggest leaps are people who are staying in town.
I think the next point was Woodbridge Center continue to expand programming, not and expand programming.
Oh,
I
continue,
mean, we know
yeah.
it's continuing.
Oh, yeah, yeah. No, I mean, this, again, this were just my reference, but thank you. I don't know if anyone has any immediate comments. I don't want to spend a whole lot of time, but we do need to refine this and work toward those goal areas that will be in the POCD.
One of the ideas here is promote more housing opportunities to age in place in a shared facility with other seniors. And that we talked about a little bit. It's a nice idea of,
Christie had,
yeah,
you
I
had
think it
given me
was
some of those
Christie's.
ideas.
Yeah.
Right?
And it's just a nice idea, instead of these townhouses with 2 floors or even more steps, it's, single floor living, with multiple bedrooms, with multiple bathrooms, so that you can roommate with, other single seniors and share a kitchen, that kind of facility, so that's the kind of thing that.
Sort of like a Coachman Square kind of facility?
No, that's more assisted living. I see what you're saying with, those are
More
like,
independence. Right.
yeah, this is more independent where, you shop and you maybe have a car still, but for the economy of scale, you have 2 or 3 people living in a household so that expenses go down and you're not living in like a Lucy Street. It's more like a Lucy Street, only instead of, I live here with my spouse or I live here alone, you can have non-related people living in a household.
Each with their own bathrooms, their own bedrooms, they may have shared kitchen space. Think back to like the best looking dorm that you've seen, it's like a suite with some common areas.
Right. But encourage that kind of senior housing, because we have so many people who are living alone, the isolation causing the depression, that kind of thing happens all the time. You have all these seniors living in these great big houses in this town, and they're paid for, but they don't have incomes, and so they're really,
Also
just getting
safety,
by.
from a safety standpoint.
And it's safety standpoint, you're not home alone worrying about being alone. So it's a concept to talk about, encouraging that kind of
Yeah,
development.
do you have any literature? Do you have
Literature
any-
about it? No, it's just a fantasy Christie came up with. No, we're gonna try and find something about
Yeah, we
it.
can find some literature, that'd be helpful.
I would think that the state of Florida must have lots of different living arrangements that could somehow research and copy, since there's so many seniors there.
Right. Right, we're not suggesting buildings with elevators, but, single floor buildings, or, if they are multiple floor, especially at mixed use, when you have all these businesses down in Lower Woodbridge, there's nothing above them, so there's the idea of putting in an elevator and creating some housing above them, especially, it'd be great to do that where there's stores nearby, you can walk and pick up stuff.
Jeanette, have you ever been to the Milford Senior Housing?
Which one? There's more than one.
It's over near Laurelton
Yeah,
Hall.
right behind Laurelton Hall.
Yeah,
I've been there.
isn't that-
That's the one I've been to.
Individual, like, units, but they're like one right after the other.
Right, that is, they're a little old now.
Yeah,
but
they
yeah,
are.
But that's still single-family dwellings.
Yeah,
I don't know if, the idea is.
they're not really big or anything, but they're
No,
just,
but the idea is to make sure that everyone has their own bathroom on their
Right.
bedroom, and you're not like 3 bedrooms in one bathroom.
well, how would one kitchen work for several people?
No. Well, same way
I
it works
I
if you have a
personally
roommate.
can't see that, like.
Well, the same way
say
it
4
works if you have a
people,
roommate,
4 different
exactly.
bedrooms and one kitchen.
I agree.
I
I think
think,
if
you
you're 20
know,
years old, it looks fine.
Not unless you hire a
If
cook.
you're 75 years old, I'm not
Maybe,
sure,
yeah,
but
right.
that's just.
Well, it depends. Are you communally living so that one person cooks and 2 people eat? Or are you separate and sharing a refrigerator where, and everybody's responsible for their own dishes? that depends on the association. Are they strangers? Are they friends for 40 years and decide to,
Yeah, because
you
that's
know?
the only thing I would see being a problem, sharing the living space.
I think it would definitely not work for some people, but it's another option, like there may be
Some people might
who
prefer-
who want somebody there and would enjoy that,
Yeah.
where other people are either
It's an
not ready
option.
for that or it's not.
I do
something
think
that
it's
they
a
would-
little bit outside of our responsibility. We are responsible for housing in that if there's a problem with a landlord or somebody is seeking housing, that's our job, but defining development is not our job.
No,
So
there's,
we're a little
there's a
bit
housing
outside.
committee person. that's-
Right,
Yeah.
not our
It's on the.
calling.
Right, so again, this was just
But if we
some
identify,
brainstorming.
a need, feeding it to them is important.
Well, I think maybe that's where it comes, is different ideas and just making sure they're aware of different ideas.
Right.
Definitely.
And I think, Pat, you mentioned this on, physical activity, walking, birding, emphasis on physical health, and that's something that, we should, consider or try to work into a goal for the town, and certainly the country club property lends itself to maintaining trails and as well. Transportation pops up on this a couple of times. I opened up the idea of whether we should look again at some type of mental health service through either social services or through youth services or human, or whatever, to be able to not just refer, but maybe bring back someone on site.
For direct services here, yeah.
Again, looking at some of the, statistics and the data that mental health needs are, we reflect society, our needs are as high as any other, town. So I think that's something that we should consider. And I think I wrote it in a soft way in the goal that, we could study and address it.
Right, I added that it is time to do another ADA transition plan, that every building, every field, everything, everything that town property needs to be covered in a transition plan that's accessible. And it's supposed to be done, basically every 7 to 10 years, and it's been since 2010. So it is time to complete one. It is a daunting activity. It takes a lot of time, and you need good partners like the building official and building maintenance and parks to come out and measure things with you and go over a lot in every building, in every outdoor space that's publicly used. So not happening this year, but in the POCD, it should be there for the next 10 years that it should be completed.
Do you know how long ago was that done? Because I was on the original committee. That was a
2010.
long time ago.
2010. And it's still being used, and I've sent it out to Connecticut Association ADAs.
Because I know that
And
back at that time,
they still think it's great, but it is time to look at, buildings change, requirements change. We need to make sure, like the ADA compliant restroom in the lobby
Right.
is not ADA compliant any longer. If we had had more money for the gym, we would have done that bathroom. We ran out of money.
So
Just an option.
and this is a, working document. If you have thoughts, email them to me or to Jeanette so we can add to it. We're going to have another subcommittee meeting, we'll reach out. So I'm sure we'll have them before we meet here in January. But again, the ideas really do need to be funneled into goals for the action plan part of the POCD.
Right, and we have just a little more work that I may pawn off on Christy and Nancy, as if they don't have enough work, but the descriptions of the departments, that work has to be, and I'll work collaboratively with each of you, but we want to bring those back. We're not going to rewrite, reinvent, but we are gonna take out the things that are no longer applicable and stick in things that are more accurate. And so we have to take those pages and
And I
review.
did check, because I didn't want anyone to do work that wasn't necessary, but apparently they are going to have a narrative for each department. And if it's not written by you guys, they'll write it. And that,
And it wasn't completely accurate,
Yeah.
10 years ago. So we want to correct that. It's just finding the time to get it done. So I'm going to partner with each of them, and I'll send it out to each of you so that you can start to look at it.
Okay, so next meeting will be in the new year, January 6th, 2025. I will call adjournment 7:54. I made the motion, I'll second, Pat will second. And it passes by acclamation, and thank you.